Good evening. It's Sunday, November 17th. Again, this is Gyesie coming to you from Arlington, Virginia. Thanks for watching this video. Essentially, what we're going to be talking about today is the dreaded word office politics. I'm sure most of you are dreading Monday. The Monday blues are hitting in just because you're terrified about going back to work and dealing with the difficult boss or the toxic work environment or the confusing office politic landscape. I'm here to propose that office politics would actually be a positive thing, something you can use to enrich your career and move forward. And certainly as you continue to progress your career and you get into leadership and management, it's certainly parallel to your success. And so we want to make this more interactive. There'll be a few questions that I would answer on specific topics relating to office politics. And at the end, I'll share a couple of resources and we'll wrap it up. So here we go.
What exactly is office politics?
Well, office politics is essentially the way things are done in an organization. It's essentially about access to resources and the ability to implement change in an organization. And very often this is dictated by culture carriers. In other words, people in an organization have power, but certainly drive the way things thrive and govern an organization. For example, you may work in an organization that's like a father. In other words, it's very dictatorial, do it this way and no other way. You may also work in an organization that's consensus driven, where things are discussed ad nauseum until a final consensus is written, or an organization where things are loosey-goosey, where there are no formal rules, and it's up to you to figure out who the power players are and how you influence them to get your ideas out there.
Why is it considered a dirty word for some?
Well, it's considered a dirty word because often people would say that office politics excludes them from access to opportunity. For example, some of the reasons why people may dread office politics is because they may say, I'm a woman working in a male-dominated office culture, or others may say, I'm black and there's no one like me in my organization. Other examples may be, I don't have the right educational pedigree, and so I'm not treated like others who've got the sort of the blue chip education, or I didn't come from this sort of background. Those kind of things can make people feel like they're excluded, or sometimes, in reality, excludes them from the mainstream in an organization.
How does one get better at handling their own office politics?
I think it's important to know who you are. In other words, what kind of person you are, what makes you tick, what are your challenges, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. Well, because we all bring our baggages to our interaction with people. For example, if you had a terrible experience with authority as a child, with a parent or a mother and so forth, and I'm not a psychologist, but essentially these things are proven to be true, then you're apt to be more resistant towards a manager who appears to be a micromanager, or a colleague who appears to be indecisive. And certainly this influences the way we approach dealing with our colleagues. But it's important to have self-awareness, number one, but also understand that you have to assume positive intent with whoever you engage with. As difficult as that might be, it's important to get past your own biases and focus on the objective, whether people like you or they don't. Because believe me, in the real world, there are going to be people who just would not be turned on by you. It's important that you focus on getting past that and focus on why you're there.
Well, what does one do then if it does not work once they get a handle of what exactly?
Well, it depends on what kind of environment you work in. If you work in an environment that's unethical, or you're certainly definitely excluded, or the business practices that don't gel with your personal ethical values, then you have to move on. And it's not as easy as it sounds, but you have to make a decision to say, this is not the right environment for me, but it's an opportunity to learn a bit about myself, how to get better at playing the game, and move on to another organization where you'll be appreciated, where you can make a better difference, and certainly take the values and the lessons you've learned from the previous organization to the next one.
So what would be your final words of wisdom on this
Well,
topic?
I would say that in office politics, it involves interaction, engagement, reaching out to people, broadening your network, finding mentors who can guide you because they've already been there, but also really requires a lot of reflection and wisdom. And sometimes involves having difficult conversations. And the two resources I'll share with you. The first one is entitled Difficult Conversations. This book's helped me a great deal. It's written by Douglas Stone, Bruce Patton, and Sheila Heen. Link will be down below here. And it's published by Harvard Business Review, I think, and was on the New York Times bestseller. Difficult Conversations that help a great deal. It's a tactful way to dealing with difficult scenarios. And there's also Maxims, a personal favorite by Rouchefoucauld, a French philosopher, politician from the 1613 to 1680. Great book. It's full of maxims that will help you deal with political scenarios. I recommend you get this. This is certainly from my personal library, and so I don't get any money from Amazon or any other broker to promote these books. But these are books that have helped me, and I hope they will help you as well. And ultimately, I want to implore you to have a great week. Again, remember to get past your own circle of comfort. Reach out to people different than who you are. Build a sphere of influence. Continue to push your ideas forward. Go forth, change the world. Keep on pushing. Peace and shalom.